In this video, I would like to talk about power, which is based on relations in networks. Let's start from a philosophical point of view. Plato said reality is fully objective. The cosmos exists, and the reality is the same for everybody. We are just living in a cave, and we see reality developing itself outside. On the other hand, in Asia, Tao said, we are all part of the whole. Reality is just a holistic unification of an individual reality. So it's not just an objective reality outside. We are part of it. Later on, Kant and Descartes said, reality is not objective, it's subjective. We create our own reality. The reality of each individual is different. And even later, Nietzsche and Deleuze in the last century said, reality is neither objective nor subjective. It's relational. So what we see from a philosophical point of view is that reality can be seen from different point of views. But it all comes down and originates in relations. And the reason is that power originates in the relations. The way people can order other people and how it's being accepted and being executed according to the will of others is because of the relations. And all organizations, the way we organize things, everything is made up of relations. So the reality, whether it's objective or subjective, reality and power are both based on the fact that humans have relations. But when we look at the reality, could we give an indication how reality develops and how it goes into time? Well, from physics point of view, mathematics point of view, there is a way of thinking that way, which is done by the quantum field description. Mr. Feynman, he said the probability of a new reality is in fact integrating all possible paths to that new reality. And you know that some probabilities will be very, very slow and some probabilities will be high. So in that way, you can create a probability of the future and you can create scenarios. Another way to look at it, of the development of reality, is using graph theory in a field. So using the quantum field description and then say, yes, but is not everybody having influence, every node in the network, every node in the field doesn't have influence on all the other nodes in the network, in the graph. This has been developed by Harari on a mathematical basis. So the graph theory tells you what will happen if you go into time, into future, about the structure of the network and the probability of making new other networks. And this whole network idea, which is being used in the graph theory, can be used for organizations in such a way that we can say humans are in fact nodes in a field and they have relations to one another. And because of that, they form a network with relations. And because of that, there are power structures in there. People use power to each other to get things done. This is developed by Stephenson and Peters in a mathematical model describing how you can look at the development in networks based on the idea of the graph theory and the fact that you have these relations and the possibility to exchange energy in the field. there's one important point in there, which says an institute, for example, a government or corporation, is not a node in a network. Humans are nodes in a network. And as such, an institute cannot create power by itself or cannot allow power from somebody else in the network. It's the nodes in the network which permit the institute to have power, at least to have regulations, knowledge, maybe even laws to be applied on everybody in the network and to take measures that everybody follows, those norms, rules, and laws. Now, this network field model, developed by Grant Stevenson and me, is based on the idea that nature can be described as a field. We have already different types of field. We know of electromagnetic field, the quantum field. There are different types of fields. And we know that in those fields, nodes have very specific properties. And those properties can be valued. For example, if we look at a temperature field, we know that a certain point in the field has a value, which is the temperature. These properties are the result of changes in the field. Temperatures can change because of the wind, the turning of the earth, all kinds of external influences. But it all has to do with the exchange of energy, or in economic terms, the exchange of capital. And what happens then to the institute, the corporations? Well, a network can be part of a layered structure. So the network can make connections, bridges to other networks, even higher ones. So we can have a kind of pyramid structure of networks. Each network has internal relations, internal power structures, but because of the bridges, there are also other power structures in there. So it's not a straight hierarchy anymore, that somebody at the top has all the power to direct all the activities of everybody at the lowest level. No, it's more like a hierarchy, a kind of hybrid form of global network power structures and centralized hierarchical structures. Now, how are these networks being built? How are they born? Well, the thing is, what we found out is that new networks are born out of the building of relations, new relations which are being built. And why are they built? Because some people have a common goal. They want to reach something. They want to fulfill something. And they come together. They set up some rules, some norms together, how to work together, how to fulfill that goal. And then there's an optimization process going on, because some people have some money, so they will supply the money to obtain the goal. Other people have the knowledge. It might even be that they have to exchange some of that knowledge to others. So they will exchange capital. They will build up new relations, because it might be that not everybody in that group knows each other yet, or doesn't have a good relation between them yet. So what they will do is they will exchange capital, human capital, knowledge, competence, skills. They will exchange social capital. They will exchange social relations, trust with each other. And then the network will grow. The network will become better and better in fulfilling the goal. And it might be that they need relations with other networks. So they start making bridges. And we see a kind of structure, layer structure develop, which we then call the hierarchy. This type of development is excellent for describing how artificial intelligence could be implemented in networks and in organizations. Because in fact, because networks can be seen as nodes of actors with some properties which can be valued. You could see AI as a node in a network as well, with its own set of properties, its own human capital. In fact, artificial intelligence can have knowledge. Artificial intelligence has skills. It can even build relations. In that way, it becomes part of the network. But there's a major difference because where people develop their rules, the rules necessary to fulfill the goal together, AI is using hardwired during execution because AI is programmable. It's programmed with execute. So the rules are inside. And yes, AI can learn, it can develop itself, but it cannot change the internal rules because they are programmed. In that way, we can look at organizations and power structures, including AI, and the way people operate together to obtain their goal using those power structures. Thank you for your attention.